The Link Show is just about to start. We have a brand new website, so head to thelinkcrew.com where you can see our most recent videos, play this week's Kahoot, and send in your shoutouts. Let's get started.
This week on The Link Show, we're back with another episode of our Follow Me series.
And we've got another challenge for you.
And another Bible story.
All that and more.
Are you ready?
Let's get linked. Welcome back, everybody. We have another exciting episode for you today.
Got another strange challenge. Hopefully nothing to do with food.
Oh, that was disgusting.
I'm glad we didn't have to eat it, but I want a food-free week.
But I also want something where I can somewhat control. I didn't have any control over those ingredients that I picked.
Yeah, it wasn't fun. It wasn't a vibe. Apparently, we need to skedaddle though because there's a lot of setup that needs to happen.
A lot
for
of setup.
This week's challenge.
So why don't we go over to our Preach Part 1.
Okay, so when I was growing up, one of my favorite games to play with all of my friends was Simon Says. Now, if you haven't heard of this game, it basically goes like this. One person is it, they stand in front of everybody else, and they say, Simon says, put your hands on your head. And so if that person starts by saying, Simon says, put your hands on your head, then everybody has to put their hands on their head. But if that person doesn't say Simon says, if they just say, put your hands on your shoulders, if you do it, you're out because you need to be listening for when that person says Simon says. So why don't we play it together? So I'll say Simon says, and then I'll tell you to do something. But if I don't say Simon says, don't do it. So let's do a little practice. Simon says, put your hands on your head. Okay, so because I said Simon says, you put your hands on your head. Simon says, put your hands on your shoulders. And put your hands back on your head. Oh no! If you did that, you're out because I didn't say Simon says. Now, a little later, you might be able to play that with your kids' pastor or your teacher. But I was thinking a little bit about how much I love Simon Says, and there's something that I realized. Whenever the person says Simon says, then we should do it. But if it wasn't Simon Says, we shouldn't do it. And I realized, did you know that sometimes in our lives, when we make choices, it's actually exactly the same? Let me explain. There's two different groups of people in our lives that we should listen to. There's the people that we should listen to, like our mum and dad, or our teachers, or our kids' pastors, and some of our friends that we know are trying to help us. But then there's some people that we shouldn't listen to, and those might be people that are trying to get us to do the wrong thing. But out of all the different people that we should listen to, I think the most important person is God. And so in my life, when I hear God says that I should be kind to others, then I should be kind to others. But if somebody else says, be mean to others, but it wasn't God that said it, then I shouldn't do it. The reason that's so important is because I know that I can always trust that God will help me to live a good life. That when God says, be kind, God says, be generous, God says, help others, that it's a good thing to listen to what God says and do it because it's good for me. Why? Because I trust God. And so a little later on, we're going to take a look at a story in the Bible of somebody who was in a really tough situation and they didn't know what to do. But God spoke to that person and told them what they should do, and they had to make a choice. That person had to choose whether they would trust God and do what God says, or whether they would be too afraid and wouldn't do it. But we'll talk about that in just a minute.
All right, we are here for another game.
We're back.
Miguel.
A lot of stuff on the table, Cece.
I know it's taking a lot in me to not touch everything.
Well, I mean, we see rubber duckies, we see the chicken.
The chicken's
We
back.
see a lot of hats.
I really want to wear the hats.
Well, maybe we might wear the hats. Let's see what we're doing.
All right.
Producer?
Alrighty, in front of you are two action cards. You need to choose one of them. They will have an action on it and you need to complete the task correctly. We cannot tell you what to do unless you ask for a hint. The goal is to complete the task in the shortest amount of time. If you would like a hint, you will have to add 10 seconds to your overall time. When you read the card, the time will start.
When I read the card. All right, I'll read it out loud.
Yeah.
All right. Drink the water. Okay, well, drink the water.
Don't spill any now. Don't giggle.
Done.
Are you done?
No. I drank the water. What do you mean?
So you've got to drink the water in another way.
The water.
There's-
Oh! Pouring water into a cup. Okay. And we're putting a straw in the cup.
Incorrect.
It does not involve the cups or the straws.
Doesn't involve the cup or the straws. Oh, shoot! Okay.
Literally shoot.
This is what we're doing. It doesn't say who to drink the water. Who has to
I
drink
am
the
not
water.
letting you shoot water at my face.
All right, CC,
No.
open your mouth. You gotta drink the water. Drink the water. Did I get it? What do you mean? Drink the water.
What else could you drink the water out of, Miguel?
A bucket.
Incorrect.
Let's have another hint, please.
Right idea with the bucket, wrong bucket. Incorrect.
Dude, you drink the water.
Incorrect.
Why are you making me do your challenge? You gotta lap it like a puppy. Use your elbows.
Correct.
Hey!
Good luck.
Mate, I'm stressed. Hit the target. Is Miguel my target?
Oh.
That's for the last time.
Wow.
Does that count?
Yes. What? The producers here believe that it is too easy. So
Way
we've
too easy.
Asked
Man,
you
whatever.
to do the second challenge as well.
Yeah.
Within the time.
That's enough. Put on the hat.
Oh. 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 Incorrect. Oh.
Whoop.
Incorrect. Oh. Okay.
You have one of the correct hats in front of you.
Okay, give me another hint.
It's not that. Incorrect.
I was trying to do like the cool. No, hold
Oh,
on.
no, I see what you're doing.
No, I can't do it.
That's too big. Oh, you did
Hey!
it! Hey!
Is it correct? No.
You don't use your body to put the hat on.
Don't use the body to put the hat on.
I feel like you actually gotta grab it.
Yay! Well, that was definitely one of the weirder challenges that we've done.
You know, I felt like that second challenge for you was fairer than that first one.
But I still feel like I got through it quicker, so
I felt like my clues were
I'll take it.
You know, how you do type, you know. Anyway, let's throw it to this week's animated Bible story.
Say hello to Gideon. Gideon would become one of Israel's judges. And during his time, there was a group of people called the Midianites who were trying to take the Israelites' land and were stealing all their food. And the Israelites prayed to God asking for help. And so God decided to save them using Gideon. God's angel came to Gideon and told him that he had chosen him to lead his people to victory. But he replied, "Lord, I am the least important person in my family, and my family is the least important family in our tribe, and our tribe is the least important tribe in all of Israel. Why would you pick me?" You see, Gideon was so afraid of the Midianites that he was preparing wheat hiding in a wine press. But God had made his choice. A little while later, Gideon and all of his troops gathered near the Midianite camp. But God said to Gideon, "You have too many soldiers. Tell anyone that's afraid that they can go home." So Gideon did this, and 22,000 Israelite soldiers left. Gideon was only left with 10,000 men. But God still said, "There are too many men. If you win the battle, people will think they did it themselves, and they won't realize that I won the victory. Take your men to the river and get them to drink. Anyone that drinks from their hands put them in one group, and anyone that puts their face into the water to drink, put them in another. So Gideon did this, and only 300 men drank from their hands. God said, "Those are the men we'll use. Send everybody else home." Gideon was left with just 300 soldiers. But that night, God told Gideon to sneak to the Midianite camp to listen to what the soldiers were saying. So Gideon took his servant down to the camp, and there were so many soldiers that Gideon couldn't even count them. They were outnumbered. But he overheard one soldier telling another that he had a dream that God was going to give Gideon the victory. So Gideon went back to camp, got his men together, encouraged them that God would give them the victory, and they surrounded the camp. And at the same time, all lit torches, blew trumpets, and smashed jars. God caused the Midianites to run around confused and afraid, and even got them to start fighting each other. God did a miracle that day and saved the Israelites using one obedient man named Gideon and just 300 soldiers. I love this story so much because Gideon he thinks he's a nobody. He's like, I'm the least important person in my family, and our family is the least important family in all of Israel. So God, why are you choosing me? But God chose Gideon because he knew that whenever God said, then Gideon would do it. God says, Gideon did. And so we see at the end of the story, even though obeying God seemed like it wasn't the right thing to do, what? Only 300 soldiers? But by listening to what God said, a miracle happened. And so for our lives, for you and for me, we have to make a choice. Do we trust God? Can I trust that when God tells me to do something, even if I don't understand why, that I should do it? Did you know in the Bible, God says, be kind to everybody, not just the people that are nice to you. God says be kind to people that are mean to you. That doesn't make sense. But I know in my life, whenever I do that and I'm kind to people that are mean to me, then God's helped me to get through that situation. God says, be generous. I know for me, when I was growing up, I didn't want to share my toys, but I knew that God said to be generous. And so I shared my toys. And guess what? I made some awesome friends. And even today, I'm still friends with some of those people. And so this is what I want you to remember. It's the most important thing, that we should always trust God when God tells us to do something. So just like when we play Simon Says, whenever God says, we should do it. So if God says to do something, what do? We should do it. Why? Because we should always trust God.
That game was messed up.
I am so annoyed that I had to do it again.
You're annoyed? My clues were like, what?
I had water thrown in my face for your challenge.
Well, because it said drink the water, so I was like, I drank the water. I sculled a whole bottle.
No,
I'm feeling really hydrated right now.
Skin's glowing.
But thank you.
You're welcome.
But you know what? Now I understand. We learned about Gideon, and he drank with his hand, not with his tongue.
Like you did, so you would have been gone.
You told me to do it.
I was actually helping you so much.
We would have been both kicked out of that army.
Would have been gone
We would have been
fast.
gone. But hey, thank you so much for joining. If you think the challenge was a bit unfair, send him in the shout-outs. But also, we just love to hear what you guys have to say about the Link Show in general. But hey, we love having you guys here. I'm Miguel.
I'm Cece.
And we'll see you next time on
The Link Show. Bye.